Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated.
Welcome to another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. How are you guys all doing?
Phenomenal.
Really enjoying this not summer weather we're having.
I don't understand it, okay? 1 minute we're having like sunshines and rainbows and all this bright sunlight hitting our eyes. Next minute, it's raining. What the hell?
Better get used to it.
Ever since that damn cyclone hit our area, it's just the weather has been topsy-turvy, and I'm like, how do I prepare for this?
A lot of coats, I'll tell you that much.
Man, we've been away for a couple of weeks. The flu and stuff happening to us. Hey, Professor.
We have, but we're back now.
Yay! We're back! And we're also back with the other guy too. Yay!
Yep.
So this week we're going to be talking about Hollywood's trend, video game. Does beer have any health effects? And how did Crunchyroll became the king of the anime streaming? So take it away, Professor, with your topic about Hollywood's newest idea, making video game movies.
Well, it's not exactly a new idea. There have been Hollywood game movie disasters for decades, especially those made by Yui Boll.
Oh yeah, the Yui Boll movies. Oh, they're nuts. They're nuts.
What's changed is we're getting good Hollywood game adaptations.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can. The Sonic ones have been. The Sonic movies have been going strong.
Yeah, we've had Sonic. The Mario movies have done pretty well.
Yeah.
The Detective Pikachu is like a decade old now, but that was.
That's crazy that it's a decade old.
Yeah, that was really good too. So it's been about a decade that we've had really good video game movies. And there's been a few bad ones in there as well still. You can't get it right every time. But a lot of that is because of a group called Story Kitchen. Story Kitchen are a production company that decided to make good video game movies. And they've so far secured the rights to Sonic the Hedgehog, the live-action animated Tomb Raider TV series, and some of their upcoming projects include Vampire Survivors, Life is Strange, Grow a Garden, Streets of Rage, Just Cause, that one's going to be interesting, Sifu, Kingmakers, Shinobi, House of the Dead, and Split Fiction.
Okay.
I've got a question for the guys. What are your thoughts on the what was the name of the video game you were talking about? Life Actually?
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. Has either of you guys played that?
I've seen videos about that game. It's interesting, but it's weird at the same time.
Yeah. Don't really understand the point of that entire video game.
Time travel and stuff. I don't know, I've never played it. I just know that you take photos and time travel.
I've seen a lot of people do fanfic and fan art over that game, and it's a big fandom.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I feel like most of the people that I know who played that game have like, yeah, it's a bit of a waste of time.
Wrong demographic, probably.
Yeah.
Like, I never got all the hype about Undertale.
Really?
Me too. I never understood that game. Like, it's...
But then on that theme of games that you either get or don't get, and the theme of Undertale being a game that punishes you for engaging in combat, I enjoyed Spec Ops: The Line.
Nice.
Although my Saudi friend says it's ridiculous that they all speak Farsi instead of the correct language. Yeah, I assume, well, that it's in Dubai, isn't it?
Spec Ops: The Line, yes, it's in Dubai, yeah.
Yeah, so I assume they would be speaking Arabic, but they speak Farsi. So, yeah. Who
Depending on how
knows
the
who
war
messed that one
goes, they
up?
might be speaking Farsi real soon.
What was that other guy?
I said, depending on how the war goes, they might be speaking Farsi real soon.
I feel like it would be a pretty big upset for Iran to suddenly
Everybody
turn
there.
around and take over the world.
Oh yeah,
Is that what they speak, Farsi?
Iran. I'm fairly sure it's where they speak
Yeah, I
Farsi.
think it is. But anyway, their upcoming project that I'm more excited about is Just Cause because I love those games, and they're basically
You-
spoofs of James Bond. Everything explodes.
Isn't it also the fact that you just want to watch the movie just to see if they could accomplish the one thing in Just Cause they do, ride a tornado.
Yes, they do that in the later games.
You said-
And then there's riding on rockets and missiles.
Sounds a lot like Hardcore Henry.
I've never seen that, but I'm gonna have to track a copy down
No,
now.
it's a game
Oh,
when you do crazy shit.
Oh, what
oh
am I
no,
thinking of? I thought there was a I thought
yeah,
Hardcore Henry was a movie filmed in first person.
yeah, that is that movie. Hardcore Henry is the movie.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Which one came first, the movie or the game?
Oh, there's a game. I didn't
Yeah,
know there was a game. I thought it was a movie.
fairly sure it's from the game. No, turns out it's actually a movie that was written in 2015.
Okay.
So with Just Call with all these projects that are coming up, so how is this can they do it? That's what my question is going to be.
Well, they've got a good track record because all of the Sonic movies have been well received. So they've got a good track record of adaptations.
Yeah, but you forget something though, Professor. Remember the reason why it became good. Remember the very first trailer?
Yes, I do. With the weird Sonic.
Yep. And that changed a lot of things. But you are right though. They do have a lot. They do have a good track record, and that's interesting how the fan backlash changed the way Hollywood did the game developed because of that.
You're talking about the Sonic backlash.
Yep, yep.
Yep. It's probably the only movie in the recent memory that fans critique.
Which isn't always a good idea, but in this case it definitely was.
Oh yeah.
It makes you question though, who has the final say when it comes Story Kitchen sitting down with the game studio.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fairly sure they sheepishly said that they were planning on changing the animation anyway, and that the fans just reinforced that, which I think is
I'm
Yeah,
also
so
thinking sorry.
uh,
Sorry for
so anyway, Story Kitchen is about they're all about getting the game developers and the television and movie producers on the same page. So they try to get Hollywood execs interested in games, and they try to get game developers interested in
movies.
adaptations. Because yeah, there's we've seen, especially with Fallout, there was a huge boost in player numbers when the Fallout adaptation came out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
After Batista had that massive like whirlwind for the last 10 years. I feel like it's the only good thing that's come out of the studio in a while.
Well, they haven't
yeah,
really
but
done any Fallout in 10 years, so
Well, didn't they
after
release
70.
something new? What was the space sandbox game?
Starfield.
Yeah, Starfield, yeah.
Yeah, that did not get good reception.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Shocker that.
So Story Kitchen say that one of the biggest issues that occurs is the debate about who gets the rights to merchandise, the IP, the soundtrack, etc. And that since game movies have started to become good, then there's this attitude from the game developers that they don't need to make a film or TV show, presumably because the game is the primary work,
Yeah.
and it's cool to be approached to make a adaptation, but it's easy to scare off the game developers.
Yeah.
And that the attitude has changed from "you're so lucky that Hollywood's looking at you," which was before Sonic came out, to
Wouldn't wish this on my
um
worst enemy. Speaking of Fallout, I genuinely think that it's probably one of the best game adaptations that has happened in the recent years. I feel like The Last of Us did a really good job a couple of years ago, but season 2 definitely fell off.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's yeah. I agree with you there.
Yeah, like the premise, the acting, the story was phenomenal. Definitely give Fallout Season 1 and 2 an easy 8 out of 10.
What's actually that's an interesting way to put it. Like with the way Story Kitchen's doing their approach, how's that compare to the Last of Us TV series where Naughty Dog being involved in the series?
Yeah, Naughty Dog were pretty heavily involved in the series Last of Us. Because didn't they have, what's his name, Neil Druckmann, I think,
Yeah, yeah. They had Neil
working as
Druckmann.
the lead producer on the show as well?
Yep, they had him in
Wow.
there. Yeah.
He's gotten into controversy recently, hasn't he?
Oh, don't tell me. There's another one.
Oh, I might be thinking about Gaiman.
Ah,
Yeah,
Neil.
Neil Gaiman's an author and he has been embroiled in controversy in the last couple of years.
I would love to love to hear your take on that, Professor.
I've never actually read any Neil Gaiman works, but from what I'm aware, he used his sort of persona as
Fame.
cover. Yeah,
Yeah,
his persona and fame as one of the good ones to be a nasty person.
yeah.
I don't know the full details, but yeah, he
Not a good look at the end of the day, huh?
no. And it was a huge like 180 from the his what's the word I'm looking for? It's not persona, is it?
Okay.
How he presents himself
His
and
His image. I'll call
yeah,
it
his
image.
image and the allegations.
Yeah. Came around the same time as that whole Justin Roiland allegations, right? Like you've got these huge creative, quote unquote, advantage underlings,
Mhm.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to this though, this topic. I have a question for you gentlemen about this, okay? Is the video game adaptation a sign that games have become has been finally accepted as a legitimate cultural art form, or is Hollywood just chasing money?
Absolutely chasing money.
I would say those two are definitely not just because they.
But then,
It's just
as
like
you were saying,
we've gone from yeah, what were you gonna
oh,
say?
oh no, no, you first, you
No,
sorry.
you first. Tell me.
I was gonna say, but it's interesting though. Like from what Professor you were saying with game developers, how they're being with the whole who gets the rights and stuff. I personally think the game developers should ultimately get the rights, get the profits for all of the stuff that's coming out from the TV series and the movies, for example, because they were the one that originally came up with the idea. The movie slash TV series is just it's like a music video to your song. It's just
So
another
it's a
ad.
nice bonus.
Yeah, it's just a
Fair
nice
enough.
bonus.
I'd have to kind of disagree with that because, like, at the end of the day, it's like everybody's fighting over the intellectual property. Like, whether or
Hmm.
not that intellectual property shows up in, like, the media of television, film, or video games, it's the same intellectual property. Like, Warhammer 4K. Like, no one's going to argue whether or not the games are better, or the movies are better, or like the actual like board games better. It's the same entity. Like at
Hmm.
some point it shows the character growth of like the idea to go transmedia, if that makes sense, like go into like other aspects, other forms of media. And I feel like that's just a normal evolution of interesting ideas.
But okay, but that said though, okay, with the adaptation, is there an argument that the best game adaptation succeed because they abandoned the source material?
That's neither here
Or
nor
does
there.
that
That
hmm,
depends entirely on the creative team, right? Like the team, like there are some teams that not completely, but like to some extent, like abandon their source material that still does really well.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of what comes to mind. I mean, like if you look at Invincible, even like I personally don't think it's the best show in the world, but it's very successful, and they've definitely deviated from their source material. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fairly sure there were huge plot points that were changed with Watchmen when Zack
Oh
Snyder
yeah.
took an adaptation to it. Like I feel like it depends. It's a little more nuanced than one is better than the other, in my opinion.
What about you, Professor?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the creative team and how they justify departing from the source material.
See,
Like, I
my
went to
big oh,
see the movie Project Hail Mary. It's very faithful to the book, about as faithful as a movie could be. because there's pretty much the only changes are things that either don't matter or would make the movie even longer. And it's already quite long.
Yeah.
But now I can't think of any good examples of adaptations that change the part from the source material. But I
Right.
know
Yeah,
they
I was
exist.
going to.
Sorry, you both were talking to.
I'm still thinking of of an example.
Okay, it's interesting you mentioned that, Professor, about the faithful part. So, what does it mean for a game adaptation to be faithful, and is faithfulness even what the audience is?
Well, I think it really depends.
Hmm.
And they have an interesting quote here in the article about that. So Dickinson from StoryKid says that the themes the game is about and the world are more important than the specific narrative. And they link in a director, Genki Karamura, who directed Exit 8, saying that following a game's rules is more important than translating the story. So I think, yeah, that it really comes down to how it feels. Like Fallout, I know Fallout Season 2 is set in New Vegas, and I haven't seen it, so please don't spoil it for me because I do plan to get around to it. But New Vegas is one of those stories where if you tried to stick to the story, because there's so many different paths through it, you would be making somebody unhappy no matter what.
Yeah, that makes sense. To a large
So
extent, vision
they've
does
gone
matter.
for, as far as I know, they've gone for the vision of Fallout New Vegas and the themes of it, but not a specific part of the story.
Yeah. I'm not too sure if
I
either of you guys have read Jujutsu Kaisen or Chainsaw Man.
I've seen the anime. I started reading Chainsaw Man, but kinda went screw it. This is getting too long.
So the thing about Chainsaw Man is that the fans hated the ending, and to some degree, they're praying that the animation team completely changes and like diverts from the actual ending.
Oh, that's gonna be a tough ask.
Still an interesting point, right? Like at the end of the day, does the IP belong to the author, or does it belong to the people?
Yeah, yeah, that's one way of putting it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it belongs to the.
Oh yeah, but like you know what I mean.
It
Like
we're along for the ride with the.
yeah,
Hmm.
but
I
like
don't think fans have the right to make demands of.
I think to some degree I would have to disagree. I mean, like I wouldn't disagree with you. I'll just play the devil's advocate. Why not?
You mean why not change? Why not change the ending?
Not necessarily why not give in to the demands of the people, but rather why not just deviate from the author's original vision?
Yeah, well, that's a. It is perfectly acceptable to deviate from the author's original, as long as you have something interesting to say.
Yeah, yeah, I'm on
Yeah,
you with that. But it's like I feel like deviation from the original narrative is to some degree another mode of storytelling, right? Like seeing something change in real time from what you initially read when you were a kid is in and of itself like a storytelling method.
yeah.
Yeah.
I what I find interesting, I find it interesting that there's a tension between those two, like you between making making something for the existing fans versus making one that brings in the new audience. And can you ever truly do both in that regard?
I feel like I'll have to agree with the professor in this state in this context because like at the end of the day it's do you have an interesting story to tell and how well are you going to stick to it without pandering? Because at the end of the day the audience isn't dumb, like then they're going to know if you're pandering one way or the other. Do you have an interesting
Yeah.
story?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I reckon the reason this might be a very dumb take, so bear with me, guys. I reckon the reason why you got shows like Mario, Sonic, and Minecraft movies, they're all becoming very successful is because the lore of the lore is simple to follow. It's not like a highbrow. It's not highbrowed. It's anyone can follow it. Anyone who remembers the story. It's easy to follow. I think the simplicity is why they're getting a lot of profit from it.
Yeah, that's probably true to an extent. I think a lot of people don't put that much effort into the media they consume.
Yeah.
And that is the case with Netflix. That someone from Netflix a year or two ago said that they were basically starting to write second screen viewing. So rather than something you put your full attention into, it's something you do while you're doom scrolling on your phone. And that's why they announce what they're doing so often and recap the. And I don't personally think that's a very good way to write, but it's the way that makes money. And I think, yeah, not to put down fans of Mario or anything, but especially because a lot of them are quite young. But lowest common denominator writing is going to get the broadest appeal because
Yeah.
you're not cutting anyone out who doesn't want to put in that much effort in the engaging with the media.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah. Also, I do have a question for you guys. We were talking about Chainsaw Man and this is also regards with game adaptations. Say if a game adaptation is a massive hit, but the developer hates it, who actually wins in this in that debacle?
If the story is good, the audience, right? Like,
Yeah,
what's his name? Stanley Kubrick absolutely hated the film rendition of The Shining, but like, it's still it's still taught in every like film school.
Wait, I thought The Shining was Stephen King.
Sorry, Stephen King. My bad. No, but
it was
Kubrick.
directed by Kubrick.
Yeah, my bad, my bad.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah. The other question I also would like to ask though is, if the is Hollywood's new respect for game IP genuine creative appreciation, or do they just finally notice there are billions of dollars sitting on the table there?
To an extent, I think it's both.
Hmm.
Because one of the things Story Kitchen say they're doing is trying to get the games in front of the execs by, like, they've even donated consoles to the execs in the hopes that some of them will play the game and get into.
Yeah, that's really weird now. Yeah, now when I think about it. So, if the studios start chasing games with quote unquote movie potential, does this pressure developers in designing games that are less games and more interactive films now? Or if we're going to do that sort of thing?
That's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can be answered without seeing how
Hmm.
people react.
It's this like it's all about the story, right? The story can go into any Like you have really good story in Half-Life 3. You've got like really good story in like film and TV.
I'm
Jesus.
sorry, you've played Half-Life 3?
Like when I was a kid. I think you forget I'm a
You played
millennial.
Half-Life 3 when you were a kid?
I am a millennial.
Wait. He's saying Half Life 3 didn't exist. He's saying Half Life 3 has not
Yeah,
existed and you
my
played
bad.
it? Are
My
you.
bad.
Are you.
My bad. I've just been so entrenched in the meme that I've just assumed that Half-Life 3 was what I've been playing this whole time.
Rats!
What
Uh,
could have been?
Although, if a game like Half Life does it feel like a win for the fan base, or does that mean you'll spend the next year watching people who never played it tell you how the show is better?
Any content's better than no content, man.
What say you, Professor?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any point arguing with people who think that one adaptation is better than the other
Yeah.
because it's
The-
just a subjective.
yeah. It just reminds me of that meme, the book is better than the TV show.
Now that we're getting less and less book adaptations, that's probably true to a large
Uh,
extent.
speaking of comic book movies though, like what's interesting is Hollywood has basically destroyed comic book culture by oversaturating with what's stopping from the same thing happening to gaming.
I don't know about the first statement though, because I feel like they've just been spamming like the same IP over like reboots and rehashes and like sequels and stuff. Like the same 10 comic books are being rehashed: Thor, Spider-Man, Iron
Yeah.
Man, Black Panther, and you're just like, alright, sweet. What about like the other universes?
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem with the superhero fatigue is that all the superhero stories come from all the superhero movies are coming from a very limited cast of writers.
So basically, gaming didn't earn Hollywood's respect. It's just earned its interest, and that's not the same thing, huh?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Anyways, let's go to the next story about beer. Who loves a good glass of beer?
Two best things about beer. I mean, the two best flavors of beer is free and cold.
Damn. Okay. How about you, Professor?
I don't like beer.
Oh, anyway, so there's a story, one critically examining or claiming that beer has a surprising health benefit. The BBC's report was based on a study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry that assesses the vitamin B6 content of alcohol-free and full-strength beers. The article pushes back on how the findings are framed, that the numbers are technically true but missing context, saying that beer provides 15% of daily vitamin B6. The study links vitamin B6 to neurological functions like producing serotonin and dopamine, but does not measure any brain health outcomes. The serving sizes references are also concerned with volumes up to a liter, which would conflict with the NHS guidance on alcohol consumption. And and also from the actual study, the key findings from analyzing 65 beers is that the total vitamin B6 concentration range from 95.3 to 1020 micrograms per liter, with multiple glycosides detected. So yeah, so apparently beer is not healthy.
I mean, the amount that you need just for vitamin B6 might not be healthy.
Yeah. So the articles are both contextualized that within a broader pattern, that red wine is good. Like the claim where red wine is good for the heart, it's been heavily detected. Healthy user effect means moderate drinkers tend to be wealthier, more active, and have better diets, making alcohol appear proactive in observational data.
That makes
And
a lot
I
of sense.
from the articles from one of the quotes they said here, when drinks brand latch onto the studies like this to make their products seem good, for they're putting marketing ahead of public health. At worst, they're nudging people to drink more.
Well, yeah, people will use any excuse to drink, though.
Yeah. But what I find amazing is that if beer contains meaningful B6, do other fermented drinks like kombucha, kefir, or wine contains comparable amounts?
Yeah. Fairly sure you can get the same amount from a potato.
And if alcohol-free beer had the same B6 as full-strength beer, does that make it a genuinely healthier alternative, or are there going to be other trade-offs to this?
Yeah.
Well, any alcohol is bad for you.
I mean, some alcohol after a breakup might be good for you.
Depends on how bad the breakup is.
Like after a breakup, any amount.
Yeah, the WHO says there's no safe level of alcohol. So why do studies framing alcohol positively keep getting published and amplified though? That's what fascinates me about this whole thing. Like, alcohol is bad for you, but why make studies about this?
Who's funding the studies?
Ah, oh, okay.
Big beers coming at us.
Big beer. Wait, there's big beer.
Surely.
Who?
That's how big Heineken is.
Yeah, that's true.
Fairly sure Forex definitely has some lobby in the Brisbane system.
Yeah, we're gonna make a new bridge. It's called the 4X Bridge by the 4X community. Ding!
That's not even like a joke anymore, considering that the Star managed to get their own bridge.
That's it. What's also wild is what responsibilities journals have when they know a finding like this is likely to be misrepresented in media. Because we get that tons of time. Because we see these stories tons of times about how, wine is good for you, but then and the media says that, but then when you look at the journal article, it's like, no, it's not.
I would say that, yeah, the media has a responsibility to do a certain level of due diligence on science topics that they cover, make sure, that, if possible, conflicts of interest with the funding and all that.
Yeah.
Because there's a saying that a lie gets around the world before the truth has its shoes. And if they issue a retraction in the future, it will most likely never be seen by as many people as saw the lie.
You guys ever heard of the I think his name is Andrew Stanfield, who made the lie about how vaccines cause autism.
Oh yeah, Andrew
And he
Wakefield.
completely retracted that, and nobody has heard the retraction.
Yeah, and he was disbarred for faking the evidence and
Yeah.
the conflict of interest and all that.
Uh, for the both of you, as someone who's read primary literature, how do you both personally evaluate when a study's conclusion is being overstretched?
Wait, repeat the question.
As for both of you intellectuals who've read primary literature, how do you personally evaluate when a story's conclusion it's being overstretched? Or studies
See, I'm a Lord of the Ring diehard fan. I know that's the new Harry Potter of today, but that ending was stretched to shit, and I loved it.
No, but okay, that's okay. That I'm talking about in terms of being a study, but okay, a study's conclusion being overstretched. That's what I'm trying to say.
Study's conclusion. What's an overextended study?
Overstretched study. Like I said,
One that doesn't support the point being made nearly as strongly as people think it does. So
Yeah,
I think the first thing to look for is the funding, because there's a lot of lobby groups out there who fund experiments to prove that something is healthy. And then there's, if you're being funded by the alcohol industry to do a study to prove that alcohol is healthy, then you've got pressure from them to come up with results that prove that alcohol is healthy. And then there's a problem where I've forgotten what the name of the phenomenon is called. If you if you do an experiment and you don't come up with some exciting new results, you don't publish. So
yeah.
if you were doing an experiment to prove alcohol was bad for you, well, we know that. So if you successfully prove that, you don't publish because everybody knows already. And then you get studies like this that try to disprove that, and they get published because the scientists involved want to shake the world up a bit and leave their mark. So
So,
yeah, I think it's funding, sample sizes,
hmm.
and if I have more time and more understanding of the topic, I would read through the whole methodology and dissect it and try to work out what exactly is going on. But you can't do that with every study because there's so many every year.
I
So
think the thing the term you're looking for was publication bias. Studies
Yeah,
with
that
negative
sounds right.
results don't get to be published.
okay, okay. So if you were to redesign this study, what would you add to make these health claims more defensible?
You really can't. It's like when you look at like the process of like, clinical experimentation, etc. The conclusions that you have or the conclusions that you type, it's not going to be as robust as you would even like it to believe. And what the media will do is that they'd make it even more robust. So
Oh, damn.
they extrapolate claims from that initial like conclusion. Because the thing is like for you to even like publish anything, you need to have some form of robust evidence. And if like a study can't do that, like they're not going to be able to like publish that conclusion.
Alright,
So I
alright.
feel like it's more of an issue in the media as aspect of things.
That's okay. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I was also gonna say, who would actually benefit from the public believing that alcohol has health benefits, and are any one of them in the acknowledgement section of this paper? Or
I haven't actually read the paper, so I can't answer that.
that's fair. That's fair.
I feel like in an Australian context, we have a very interesting relationship with alcohol in general, right?
Yeah.
Like most or like almost all bottle shops are closed on days like Easter and Anzac Day, but where most people or like most Australians celebrate it is in a bar.
Yeah.
So it's this weird hypocrisy that's been kind of going on, and I feel like that's sort of like something interesting to look into.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same case with tobacco companies as well. Now, with we love smoking. Well, we're trying to quit. We're trying to quit that as well.
Yeah, but in Australia, I feel like the new thing is vaping, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can't smoke on a plane.
Can't smoke. Oh, that's just wild now. Like, imagine if you told your nutritionist that your your vape is as a B6 source. Like, would they laugh, cry, or both?
What I
Both.
find interesting with this whole like smoking thing, especially on like an airplane, like back when smoking was allowed on airplanes, we had like better air circulation. And they've done this recent study to look at like air circulation or specifically the cause of deep vein thrombosis on airplanes. And if you like people always say that it's because you're static for so long you get DVT, but they've recreated the experiments on like level ground at at ocean level, and you don't get DVTs. And what they speculate has been the cause is that the air purification systems on airlines have been going downhill since then.
Ah, crap. Now you made me not fly a now you made me not go air traveling anymore. I should just now in future events I should just start driving just because the air purification is garbage in the airplanes now. Damn it.
Come on, DJ, you'll still come fly see.
Oh, we shall see. See. Okay, and finally, let's go to our final topic. Crunchyroll is winning the anime streaming war by not following the rules. And this is according to Jerome Mazdandrani, the former managing director of Manga Entertainment, made on the Anime Business podcast. His core argument is that Crunchyroll started as essentially a copyright infringing platform that gives fans everything they wanted for free, severely damaging legitimate businesses in the process. The unfair advantage when Crunchyroll decided to go legitimate and secured investment from Chernin Group, Automedia, and others, it's already had a massive, highly engaged audience, one that had built without having to pay for marketing or content license. And Mazdara, I'm butchering this guy's surname, so apologies for that. Mazandrani reflected that when Sony acquired Crunchyroll from AT&T and Warner Media in 2021 for $1.1 billion, it was a fitting outcome where he quotes, "If you can't beat them, join them." In his view, Crunchyroll alongside Netflix became the driving force behind anime going mainstream. And
Yeah,
the
I don't
draw
know about them making anime mainstream. I'll be real
Oh,
with you.
the the drawback is Crunchyroll's dominance. It strips away the local voice and personal touch that fans used to enjoy from regional distributors. And one of the quotes, if from the guy, it basically on Crunchyroll winning the streaming war. It's like if you can't beat them, join them. Crunchyroll won the war. Really, they became the way anime was going to grow and become mainstream medium thanks to them and Netflix. That's what he basically says. But that's interesting. Using piracy as your growth strategy. Like, is that something to be proud of or be embarrassed by?
No, it's an interesting parameter, but at the end of the day, they are a business, right? They have to profit somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, all these AI companies are pirating as well.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
I'm not even joking. They're legitimately going through court because they pirated so many books to train their AI.
Yeah, that would be an interesting topic to discuss, like how image-based AI, whether or not it's considered piracy.
So if Crunchyroll won the war by going legit after piracy, then why are recent reports now showing Netflix overtaking them globally? Like, did they lose their edge once everyone had to play by the same rules, or?
That's because Crunchyroll introduced like a payment system.
Oh
Before
yeah.
this, Crunchyroll used to be a free platform. Now they're making their platform like a paid subscriber service.
Oh, it's gonna get crazier now that Crunchyroll wants to get into manga side as well.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There is word going around that if you add in another $3.50 to $4 American per month, you can get manga on your subscription.
Manga of what?
Anything like they're gonna Crunchyroll's gonna launch a dedicated manga app. Oh, they launched it already in October 9th, 2025.
So
So the
Crunchyroll's gonna be the new Jump.
Oh yeah, yeah. And these include names like One Piece, JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen, This Delicious in Dungeon, My Dress Up Darling, and Spy X Family.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but I don't think I've met a single person who's ever paid.
Nah.
Yeah, I think if your business model is predicated on committing a crime, It shouldn't be your business model.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, you look at Napster, for example. It disrupted music. It disrupted music, for example. You look at Uber. It disrupted the taxis. So it feels like a pattern. It feels like if you break the rules, you'll eventually get rewarded for it.
If you have enough money.
If you have 1,000 different people breaking rules, one of them gets away with it.
But that said, though, what does it say about the entertainment industry handling disruptive technology? Like, is this the lesson that piracy should just be tolerated because it builds markets, or
I think piracy to a large degree is a symptom of a bigger problem.
Hmm,
Back in the good old days, back when we had to go to theaters to watch movies,
yeah,
piracy was a big thing because theaters like cost too much. And now piracy is a thing because you would have to gain the access of 7 different streaming services before you get the ability to watch whatever you want.
hmm,
Like at some point, yes, Netflix had everything. Now we've got HBO Plus, we've got Paramount Plus, we've got Stan. Yeah, we've just got an increasing number of subscriptions that we have to have before we get to watch what we want. So obviously, people are going to go back to piracy.
yeah, yeah. Actually, by the way, Professor, you were saying earlier about the funding. Okay, here's a question for you though. Imagine if imagine you're the businessman, and if a student comes up to you with a business plan that said, step one, break copyright law. Step two, build a massive audience. Step three, go legit and sell it for $1.1 billion. Would you fail them or fund them?
Well, ethically, I would laugh at them.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I don't think. Look, I'm not going to excuse Crunchyroll for being a piracy site. And I'm not going to excuse Facebook and Meta and Google and all those companies for the laws they break. Just because it makes them a lot of money and could
Hmm,
potentially make me a lot of
yeah.
doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
So you would just fail him, like just fail him.
Well, I don't know. It might be a good business plan. So maybe they pass the course, but ethically, no.
Yeah, what's interesting is that the fans who torrented anime in the early 2000s did more for the industry than any studio executive with a licensing budget. That's wild.
Yeah, to an extent, piracy has been good for some industries because it has gotten them where they are today. Specifically related to this topic, the Crunchyroll, like, would anime have taken off without mass piracy? Would manga be as popular if it didn't start with fan translations?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think, like, at the end of the day, that'd be one main winner if piracy ever managed to be mainstream.
There can only be one.
And his name is Jack Sparrow.
It's a golden age of piracy, everybody. Yeah, it's wild now how every piracy site now had a now does the whole we're charging every fan 17.99 for the privilege of accessing content which was once free.
Yeah.
And we're gonna call it progress.
My partner and I wanted to watch Hot Fuzz last night, and there was not a single site other than Paramount Plus that provided it. I resorted to pirating. I'm ashamed to say it, but that's the case. It is. I'm not gonna sign up for Paramount Plus. Like, it's not gonna.
I don't know, like we're gonna go to a point in history where if you want to get it's gonna be if you want to get this certain movie or certain series, you have to come to us. Screw all this. Don't even think about piracy because we'll snitch on you.
Yeah, it's 1986, right?
1984. Oh boy. Anyways, on that note, we should take a break and we'll be back with our shout outs and wacky movie. And we'd like to thank our lovely sponsors at Res for giving us this cool energy formula. They have quality ingredients, ginseng, Bacopa moniari, Tages, and Vaccinia I can't pronounce anything these days. Far out. Traditional herbs and quality extracts. It relieves fatigue and eye strain and supports eye health, supports mental endurance and stamina. You type nerds at the checkout at the res store. You get a cool 10% discount. Lovely. So go on to drinkres.com to get your cool can of res, crisp appleberry flavor. Anyways, on to our shout out. 27th of April 2026, Jerry Conway, Marvel Comics writer who created Punisher, Miss Marvel, and more, dies at 73. Conway was as I said, comic book writer. He was an editor, science fiction writer, screenwriter, and television writer and producer. He not only created the Punisher, but also created Peter Parker's clone Ben Reilly, the villain Jackal, the first Ms. Marvel, and also wrote the death of the character Gwen Stacy in his long run in the Amazing Spider-Man in the story arc The Night Gwen Stacy Died. Yeah, that was a very tragic story. Born in Brooklyn, New York, he began publishing comics at 16 and started writing full superhero stories at Marvel in 1971. He brought horror elements to Marvel and created Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night, and Marvel's own take on Dracula. On April 2026, April 27, 2026, Marvel Comics announced on its website and social media accounts that Conway had died at the age of 73. On the 28th of April 2026, He-Man toy line creator Roger Sweet passed away at 91. He was born in 1935, grew up in Akron, Ohio. He served as the lead designer at Mattel during the 1970s and 1980s and worked extensively on the Masters of the Universe toy line. And Sweet was lead designer for that entire thing. And Sweet made He-Man with the idea that the character's simplicity would make it effective. This was a powerful figure that could be taken anywhere and dropped into any context because he had a generic name, He-Man. He died after a battle with dementia. One could say this guy was the guy that created Skeletor, and how many memes we gonna get from that guy? On the 29th of April 1953, the first US experiment 3D TV broadcast shows an episode of Space Patrol. Having been granted permission by the FCC to explore the feasibility of 3D TV, ABC made the first experimental 3D TV in the United States on April 29, 1983. Unfortunately, 3D glasses were not prevalent at the time, and while the show aired, it appeared to be a blurry mess to those without glasses in those early days of television. Who remembers the 2000s, the phenomenon of 3D TV?
Golden
Yep,
age.
never took off, and I blame it on the glasses.
It was the glasses then, it's the glasses now. And the funny thing is, the whole phenomenon of 3D came out after the first Avatar movie.
No, it did.
It did. Like,
No, I remember watching Polar Express in 3D.
really?
Yeah.
Like, but that was a comeback. I should rephrase that. The comeback of 3D came after the Avatar movie. How about that?
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah. Like ever since Avatar, the first one, every movie decided to go like, oh, let's make it all 3D, guys. 3D this movie, 3D that movie. And then 3D TVs came out, and that was an expensive mess. And I also remember consoles wanted to come into the play as well. Like PlayStation for one wanted to do like, is this game playable on 3D TV? Yes, it can be. Didn't VR also want to adopt a 3D model as well?
Well, immersive VR relies on 3D graphics.
Okay. On the 30th of April 2026 is the 5th anniversary of Returnal. You've been playing this game, Professor, haven't you?
Yes, I just got back into it recently, and I finished it for the first time, and I am planning on going back to get the full ending.
Ah, nice. For those who are not familiar with the game, it follows Celine Vassos, an astronaut who lands on a planet at Trophos in the search of a mysterious white shadow signal and finds herself trapped in a time loop. The gameplay combines bullet hell, third-person shooter, and roguelike element. The game sold over 806,000 copies by February 2022 before being released in Windows, and the spiritual successor Saros has been released 2 or 3 days ago.
Pretty recently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know though, because they're not releasing it on PC, because Sony are jerks.
Yeah, they're always jerks. The games look heavily relies on a number of visual effects that the development team built in-house as extensions to Unreal Engine. The core visual style of the game heavily relies on particle systems and volumetric rendering. Okay, and Professor, what's our messed up moment in nerddom this time?
It is Vladimir Komarov.
Oh boy, I'm not gonna like this, aren't I?
Do you like astronauts?
Yeah.
Well, Vladimir Komarov was, to use his full name, Vladimir Mikhailovich Komarov, was a Soviet test pilot, aerospace engineer, and cosmonaut. He commanded Vokshod 1, which was the first spacecraft to carry more than one crew member, and was the first Soviet cosmonaut to fly in space twice as the solo pilot of Soyuz 1 on its first crewed test flight. Unfortunately, there were several issues with Soyuz 1, and a parachute failure caused him to crash into the ground after re-entry and die, becoming the first human to die in a spaceflight incident.
Oh, how bad were the injuries?
Well, you can find photos of his remains because they had an open casket, and
Oh,
there's not much left of it.
that's really painful. That's really painful now.
Yes, and there's so
Oh, I'm seeing the picture
I see you
now.
found the picture.
Yeah, in color too. That's
Yeah,
terrifying.
there's urban legends about it that he was picked up on radio cursing the who sent him. That he went to he was going to be replaced by Yuri Gagarin if he refused to fly, so he flew to save Gagarin's life. And it turns out most of that is false. But what is true is that the Soyuz was not ready for flight, for human flight, and that the mission failed and killed Komarov.
Yeah, mess. Damn.
And it's just an example of how horribly things can go wrong when you're going to space, and how well it was possible that they could have saved him because the mission was going to involve a rendezvous between two Soyuz. But because of the problems with the Soyuz 1, they decided not to do the rendezvous.
So they
So,
basically, so they gave him so they gave him a one-way trip, and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the bits. Apparently, they released it on Lennon's birthday. Oh man, imagine other guy. You were the doctor for that. You were the doctor, and you had to do the autopsy for for this poor soul.
Yeah, pretty easy. Pretty easy job if you ask me.
Yeah, he died a terrible, terrible death. Here's his remains, and yeah.
Didn't he
Completely
ask to
unrecognizable.
be embalmed and like put in a museum at some point? He said that I know that this mission's going to be a failure, and I want you to like keep my remains and I suppose just like put
Oh,
it out there.
I hope not. that that would have been terrifying. And I also know where you came with that idea. But it does make you. It also makes you wonder, like, whether the spacesuit that Komarov was wearing was sound enough at the time. Which I think that, judging by the pits, yeah, not sound at all.
No.
Uh, Anyways, on to a wacky movie. On the 29th of April 1984, The Horror at Beach Party premiered in New York.
You mean the horror at Party Beach?
Right, Party Beach. Yeah, Party Beach. The horror. The horror. Directed by Del Teddy, this horror musical starred John Lyon, Alice Lyon, Alan Laurel, and others. And here's the plot summary. Sea creatures created from radioactive sludge terrorize a beach community. And
And the sea creatures look ridiculous.
yeah. I should show the other guy a picture of it just for the sake of brevity. There you go. It's like a gigantic chicken eating a bunch of sausages.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, regarding the horror of Party Beach, it said that the author Stephen King insists it's one of his personal favorites. God, I don't know why he liked that movie, but Del Tenney began his the director Del Tenney began his career as an actor And then after moving to New York to act professionally, he worked as a director of exploitation films, including Satan in High Heels. He was approached by Alan Island, whose family owned drive-in theaters in Albany, New York, to make a double feature for drive-ins. He offered to put up $50,000 and come up with titles and press books if Tinney would $50,000. The titles Island created was Curse of the Living Corpse and Invasion of the Zombies. The monster costume was developed by Robert Verberkmose, a theater set design constructed at Guzman Bolam's sculpturing studio. The costume head stands atop the actor's head, such that the actor looked through the hole in the costume's neck. Chocolate syrup was used for blood during the monster attack scene. And the advertising for the double feature of Horror Party Beach and Living Corpse capitalized on the gimmick first utilized by director William Castle, in which newspaper advertisements include a call out that stated, "For your protection, we will not permit you to see these shockers unless you agree to release the theater of all responsibility for death by fright." The romantic leads for this movie were played by siblings. John Lyon, using the name John Scott, is Alice Lyon's brother. Now that's weird. Imagine having a brother and sister playing the romantic leads.
Yeah. No.
And this movie is also famous for the fact that they included a bikie gang to be involved in this movie. And the bikie gang in this movie was portrayed by the Charter Oak Motorcycle Club, described as being, and I quote, affiliated with, but a step beneath the Hells Angels Club of Riverside, Connecticut. And while the director was editing the film one evening, much to his surprise, the entire Charter Oaks Motorcycle Club showed up to see the entire footage shot for the film. He then spent an entire hour showing them the footage of the film from all angles. That's terrifying. Imagine a bikie club just showing up to your editing room. And finally, as director Dale Tenney was surprised by the film's success, he had been nervous about combining a teen beach film and a monster horror film, not knowing how it would go with the audience. Yeah, it went well, really well. So that's all we have for this week. You can find us on our Spotify and all other audio platforms and social media such as Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. You can also join our Discord where we have a lovely assortment of community members. You can chat to us on all the fun stuff that's going on. So stay happy, stay nerdy. See you guys.
Look after yourself, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next week.